day, on May 19, 2021, I tracked again my visa packet at to-go website using my UID number. So what's your UID number? This is the number in your CGI account. Remember, before your interview or immediately after your interview, you should have your CGI account that would tell you how you want your visa to be delivered. So if pinili niyo to pick up on to-go MOA or for delivery, they can deliver it, in your home address. Usually on the upper right, my number dyan beside the sign out or log out word, my number, that's your UID number. That's what you will be using. Copy nyo yan and then put it on the tracker sa to-go website, and it should show there if it's on delivery or ready for pickup. And so in my case, when I saw it, it says that it's already for delivery. And so I called and they said, wala pa po, but we know that it's already coming, na pick up na from the embassy. On May 20, 2021, finally VOH na ako. That's what we usually call it, but it's called Visa on Hand. I picked up my visa packet. It's a packet because it's going to be in a yellow packet or yellow folder envelope, and then it's still also wrapped in like a plastic or cellophane, and then naka-wrap pa siya in a to-go wrapper or cellophane. And so before I went, I called to-go MOA. They usually would have their number. And then they confirmed na my passport is there, or my visa packet is there. I went, I picked it up, and then I was really nervous and excited. So what really happened was I got my packet, and then I remember there's a Mary Grace Cafe near to go. Nagbabike lang ako because I live super close that time. And then I literally had to go there, order like whatever coffee and snacks and saimada, which I miss so much sa Mary Grace. I open it, so I don't really have something to show you, but I would advise, so you can take off the to-go pack, the to-go cellophane, because obviously your passport should be outside the yellow packet. Now, you obviously need to get your passport because you need that when you fly out. So you have to cut the to-go cellophane, and then after the to-go cellophane, may another cellophane pa yan. Because outside that is your passport and inside is the yellow packet. So I cut it below, as in super small lang, just enough na makuha ko yung passport ko. And then you really have to check your passport immediately if all your details are correct. Your name should be spelled properly. Your birthday should be correct. I believe those are specific important details that you need to check. And then after that, I went home and sealed again the cellophane, which contains the yellow packet. So I was really happy. And then, well, I can't attach my picture of the visa, but it's already there, and you just have to secure it together with your yellow packet. Alright, so after visa on hand, I did explain that for my CFO certificate in my latest video before this. That's where I reached out to CFO and gave her a copy of my visa on hand, and they issued me my temporary CFO certificate. So if you want to learn more about that, please check my other video. But then on June 25/26, I will explain why. That was my flight to the US, and my point of entry is JFK or in New York. Now, I used Korean Airlines. That means I have a layover in Korea. So from Manila, Korea, and then to JFK or New York City. Korean Airlines because I'm really confident about it. I lived in Korea for some time, kaya I know how to speak Korean, and I really trust the airline, especially at the height of the pandemic. The requirements, I had to have my PCR testing valid for 72 hours, and or depending on the CDC guidelines, so you need to check that again, or better yet, call your specific airline. So for me, I checked with CDC website, and I also called the Korean airline in Manila and ask for specific details. And then I got tested for COVID, and it was negative, of course. And then I got my CFO certificate. And so 25 to 26, because it's 25, but we were boarding 26 na. So that's why 25 or 26. But ideally, we left Manila June 26. And of course, that was also my birthday. I really intended to do it because I want to experience flying out with 2 birthdays. Naka-birthday ako sa Pinas, in Korea with the same date, and then another full whole day birthday here in the US. Okay? So a brief experience of flying out from Manila. And my advice really is to at least be there 6 to 5 hours before your flight. Just because alam ko you will have your luggage with you, you need to line up, plus all the COVID protocols. So it might be different now, depends on how are the requirements needed. But during my time, yun nga, we need to have the PCR testing. That's one of the very important one. So we lined up because sa taas ng pila, it was so close to boarding. But you won't be left, of course, kasi nakita mo lahat, everyone's on the same line. And so after I gave or checked in my luggage, immediately went inside immigration. So immigration, once they just checked the documents, they didn't ask me anything. Or they did for a bit, just very quick lang, with regards to showing me my CFO certificate. So that's this very specific one, the CFO certificate. And one good thing about that is it was very light, kasi when they checked that it's June 26, and they're like, oh, birthday mo na pala ngayon, so happy birthday. And they greeted me, and they're really nice, and asked for my CFO certificate, and then yun lang. So that's why I said and established in my previous video, importante talaga ang CFO certificate. You will never be able to leave the Philippines if you don't have it. That's one of the very, very important documents before leaving the Philippines. So there will be 2 people who would check before you board your flight. So that's the immediate immigration officer, yung mga nasa cubicle. And then after that, there's another one to screen prior to, they might not be officers already, but there will still be crew underground to check your passport, as well as either they could demand you to get your CFO certificate. But if not, I don't think really, but they checked my passport again and said, oh, so K1, like, yeah, K1. And they're like, okay, and then you're good to go. So that was just really my brief experience before flying out from the Philippines. And mainly, I think kami na yung last flight because it was a red-eye flight, 12-ish na, almost 1 a.m. And that we took off. So wala na masyadong tao. And so there wasn't enough time to linger around the airport because there's a long line for you to check in and a lot of processes involved, lining up again for the immigration officer and then going to your specific gate na medyo malayo pa. I arrived the same day, June 26, 2021, in the US because of the time zone or time difference, and my point of entry is JFK or New York City. And so this is a very funny experience because at first, everyone would be really nervous about the point of entry. There were different horror stories that you would hear, but I will tell you, don't be nervous. Just line up and relax yourself. Now, in my case, when we landed, we went down, and surprisingly, there's a lot of people in line to pass through immigration. It was also very early. So not really early, but before lunch, so everything's just really starting up. And then when it was my turn, my entire experience was just, I met with the immigration officer, and then she asked for I immediately gave my passport. After giving the passport, she said, do you have any other documents that you need to give me? And I said, yes, ma'am. I gave her my yellow packet. She immediately opened it. She did something of segregating the documents, stamp it, and stamp my passport, look at me and ask, "Oh, so you've been here before?" I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." And, "Oh, that's great, welcome back. You're good to go." I'm like, "Okay." So that was really my entire experience. Nothing, no questions asked aside from that. Also, they did not take my fingerprints already because I've been here in the States briefly 2013 under a J1 visa. That was a long time ago. But so I believe kasi I have my own fingerprint already given with the immigration for the benefit of my first time coming here. Hindi na nila, they didn't ask for it. And as long as they get your visa packet, you really have to be sure that you give your, sorry, not visa packet, but your yellow packet to the immigration officer. I've been hearing stories that they are not, some forget to take it, or some would say, no, it's not needed. But I best believe that they should really take it because it should be in the hands of the immigration officers to be given to the USAS or however they want it to be. It shouldn't be in your, you shouldn't be able to have it after passing through the immigration.